In this video, I am going to be showing you all of the systems, advice, and actual action points that my business partners and I have used to profitably scale over 200 e-commerce brands to that high 8-figure and even 9-figure mark. And all that without being chained to your desk in Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting, managing employees and wearing all the hats. After 6 years of owning and working with multiple e-commerce brands and managing hundreds of people on various teams, I've learned a ton about the most difficult and gate-kept parts of actually growing an e-commerce business, which I will be revealing throughout this video. So by the end of the video, you will know from my own lived experience exactly what systems, mindset shifts, and optimizations to implement to scale companies from a 6 to 7-figure run rate all the way to that dream 9-figure mark. But also exactly what traps to avoid when expanding and scaling your company so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Warning, this video might not be the best for complete beginners. You can still watch it if you are one, and sooner or later the information in this video will be useful to you, but there will be a lot of technical jargon and high-level topics. What to avoid when growing any company in any business or any industry. So before I go ahead and show you how to grow your brand, you need to know what you actually might be doing wrong right now and what to weed out so that you can fix your business and start spending your time on things that actually matter. There are 1,000,001 things that take your time and attention. Now, you might think that you beat shiny object syndrome by building an e-com brand, but the reality is that you're probably still subject to it, but just in different ways. Let me explain. Tons of founders out there get caught up in whatever the new shiniest marketing trend is. Oh shit, if I use this cool new software and use this new trend, I'm sure that I can finally grow my brand. In this business, avoiding the wrong move is often more important than making the right one. Now, I have a client that spent over $600K a year on their agency for just CRO, and the results? Whack. You're outsourcing the most important tasks to agencies that don't actually care about your results. And you're paying 10 times the markup for what usually is just one guy's salary. If you're constantly getting wrapped up in these little extra things, you're probably spinning your tires, wearing too many hats, and getting burnt out trying to figure out what the best next move is. Instead of spending all your efforts on half-important tasks, you should focus on what truly matters, which is managing and growing your brand. Simple as. So what actually is important when building a company? So if constantly trying to keep up with trends, new platforms, and all the rest of it is hurting your business, how do you actually grow it? Now, you're so focused on growing the company, you are forgetting to build a brand. And no, those don't necessarily go hand in hand. The number one thing you need to be doing is building systems and structures that you can predictably use. But what does that actually mean? You should have SOPs, systems to optimize fulfillment, and having a predictable way to hire A players. Because at a certain point around the 8-figure mark, you start to realize one thing. It's all a people game. It has always been a people game. And as you start to scale, you realize that you need incredible talent to move the needle forward. The wise words from Leila Hormozi: talent beats strategy. Sooner rather than later, you will need to hire talent that can teach you what to do, not the other way around. You're still going around telling people what to do, constantly steering the ship. It is time for a change. One guy I'm working with was doing over 500K a month and was still involved in his customer service, marketing strategy, design, and basically everything. Now, when private equity firms look to acquire a company, they're not just looking for EBITDA or how strong the brand is, they're looking for strong, reliable structures and systems. They want to see how the business can run without its founder, CEO, or owner. We need to keep the end goal in mind here. Are you planning to run this brand forever, or are you looking to sell it someday? If it's the latter, you need to start now. The more valuable you are to your company, the less valuable your company is. Build systems, build structures, do everything you can to automate your business. Your role as a business owner isn't to work harder or more in your business, it is to be able to work less and on it instead. Don't you worry, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do from 6 figures all the way to 9 figures. So what is actually important when building a company? Mindset. Now, this is probably one of the most overlooked parts of growing an e-com store or running any business in general. Before you roll your eyes and skip past this part of the video, hear me out. Because having the right mindset is the difference between plateauing at 6 or 7 figures and your business slowly dying, or reaching multiple 8 and even 9 figures. Now, if you ever heard the saying, the thing that got you to 10K a month isn't the same thing that got you to 100K a month, you probably know what I'm talking about. Having a strong mindset and actually believing something is possible is the first step of actually doing it. If I tell myself I could never ride a bike, how could I? The same way if I told myself I could never make 5 million a month, I would never be able to. You need to change your mindset multiple times along the way to really get to the next levels. You need to become the person capable of running a high 8 to 9 figure company. Good luck operating a company at 10 million a month when you're mentally stuck at 1 million a month. For this, you need to start changing your attitude toward money. You have to invest more than you're actually comfortable with. Fortune favors the brave. So just take as much risk with this as you can. It's time to sit down with yourself and think, am I here for a quick buck or am I here for the long term? Either are fine, but the way you approach them are very, very different. Now, if you're watching this and you're wondering to yourself, how do I actually find these people? The people that help me get to the next level. I have a ridiculously simple solution for you. In the description, there is a link to a website where you can get triple vetted A-player talent personally matched with you so that you can scale beyond your wildest dreams without ever having to worry about the people department. Now for the actual plan. Part 1, 6 figures a year, between 100 to 999K a year. If you're at the 6-figure mark, in the grand scheme of things, your company is still pretty small, but you should have some cash flow to invest, a decent grasp on the space as a whole, and knowing what you need to do. But what exactly do you need to be doing? If you're already past the 6-figure mark, stick around because there might still be a few steps that you missed and should already be doing. First, start branding. Create a consistent look and feel across the websites, packaging, and social media. Build a clear brand narrative and differentiate yourself in the market by focusing on what makes your brand unique and curate an experience around that. 2, make ops as lean as possible. Set up efficient systems for managing inventory, shipping orders, and customer service. We personally recommend all our clients to work with Ecomflow as they're incredibly fast and also help you think ahead with stock, but I'll put my link to them in the description as well. One of the first ecom brands I personally ran, we scaled up pretty quick, reinvested a lot, and then Chinese New Year came around. And guess what? We were not prepared. Whoops. Ran out of money. Ignore retention. You should spend a big portion of your budget on customer acquisition through paid advertising. There isn't much to retain anyway, so you're better off focusing 100% on just acquiring customers and taking market share. Implement a customer feedback loop. You should often ask for and use customer feedback to improve, whether that's on product, socials, customer service, doesn't matter. This not only improves your brand, but obviously also your relationship with customers. Now for the juicy part. Hiring. Here are the exact roles you should and shouldn't be hiring for at this point. First, yourself. You as the founder will act as the head of growth until you hit 1 million in revenue. Make sure to really deepen your knowledge around everything with marketing and creative. Not only so you can fulfill your role right now, but also so that it's way easier to hire someone to take over if you speak the language for the job. Then the creative strategist. The media buyer is dying and creative is doing all the work. Soon, Facebook will be removing all their targeting and all there's left to do is creative. So make sure you are ahead by hiring a killer strategist. Now, you can probably get them on a freelance or fractional basis for pretty cheap. In the first stage, you won't need them for more than 10 to 15 hours a week. Prioritize this role above everything else. Then a paid search marketer for all relevant channels. For now, it's still important to have someone be the button pusher behind all the campaigns. Find someone with an insane track record who knows how to scale serve. Again, you can bring on some incredible talent for pretty cheap on a fractional basis. As you only need them for about 10 hours a week, you can easily get them on a 1K a month budget. Then a graphic designer for all creative work, landing pages, product images, you name it. I recommend starting this role offshore to save costs, but it is definitely something you should be looking to bring in-house sooner rather than later. Now, underrated, a customer service rep. Customer support is so important, but it's usually one of the first thing people outsource to some random agency or to an overseas rep. It is so important to invest in this and find someone that can actually represent your brand and build a relationship with the customer. I wouldn't put this too high on my list though, as you can easily survive without it. I just want to stress the importance of not delaying this hire or outsourcing it at the first opportunity that you get. An optional role is the CRM marketer. You could get an email marketer for about 5 to 10 hours a week, but it depends on your priorities. Again, personally, I like obsessing over acquisition only at this stage, spending all budget that I have on there. At this stage, there isn't much to retain anyway, so focusing on retention over acquisition is just a bit worthless to me. Now, what not to hire? First, don't hire C-suite execs. You're way too small, you don't have enough cash flow to justify this yet. If you need to bring in expert knowledge, again, fractional talent is your move. If not, you can always pay a few $100 an hour or something to find some really good consulting. It's just not worth bringing it on board board just yet. Also, don't hire too many agencies. At this stage, working with an agency is fine, but just try to limit it and bring as much in-house as you can. You already know that the agency won't stick around forever, and it sucks having to shuffle hires, build operations and whatnot to replace your agency once you're already at or past the 8-figure mark. If you really want to work with an agency, use outside help for specific tasks like design or high-end video production until you have enough work for full-time in-house employees. I promise you, if you focus on these things that I'm showing to you right now, you'll be able to grow as efficiently as humanly possible while still remaining the profit margins that you get so for. But most importantly, actually being able to get to that next level, which is 7 figures a year, 1 mil to 9 mil. Congrats on breaking the $1 million mark. But kind of like what I said earlier, what got you to your first million is not what's going to get you to your first 10 million. Now, okay, I do admit 1 to 10 mil usually follows the same strategies at the previous phase, just at a larger scale. But there are a few things we need to plan for. First, expand your product line. Add new products based on customer feedback and market trends. Then it's time to invest in customer retention. Use email marketing and reward programs. Focus on personalization and amazing customer service. We can explore new sales channels because at this point you can consider selling on Amazon or TikTok Shop. Then fulfillment. Make sure supply chain can handle increased order volume, minimize lead time, and reduce inventory costs with just-in-time manufacturing or bulk ordering. If at this point you are still dropshipping, get help. Build a strong company culture. Companies that prioritize culture make 33% more revenue than those who don't. Lesson in there. Hiring. Hire a head of growth, fractional or full-time depending on your exact stage, to manage marketing strategy to replace yourself. Then we will convert high-performing freelancers to full-time roles as needed. Definitely the creative strategist and paid social marketer. There should be enough work to bring them full-time now. Also at this stage, there is definitely a need for a part to full-time email marketer if you don't have them already. Also bring on additional graphic designers or video editors as needed. Some new roles to consider. Operations manager, a supply chain manager. It's someone to think 5 steps ahead with everything around supply chain. Order stock ahead of time, plan out launches and all that stuff. Again, if you're still dropshipping, what are you doing? Put your big boy pants on and let's turn this into a real brand. And then an e-commerce manager to do everything from developing and implementing strategies to managing the landing pages, optimizing product listings, and coordinating campaigns and much more. They basically just manage the e-commerce. Again, you don't have to hire a whole lot of new roles. You can just increase the hours of the roles that you already hired for. What not to do? Use the agencies. We don't want to restructure the ops when we finally fire our agencies at 8 figures. We do it now. At this point, all operations, org chart and everything should be well prepared for 8 and 9 figures. If you're here, keep going. At this point, you know that it's all a people game, but now you know exactly who to hire and bring on to scale to that next level of revenue. 8 figures a year, 10 million to 99 million. Things are getting serious now. Well done on making it this far, because only 1.26% of companies in the US, 180,386, make as much as you do. At this point, it's time to really lock in your systems, hiring, and start using some big boy strategies. We can finally look at hiring a C-suite and some more head positions to start letting the business run on autopilot. Prioritize optimization over expansion. At this level, your focus should shift slightly from pure growth to optimizing profitability. Run split ads for ads, product pricing, and CRO to squeeze more ROI from every single dollar that you spend. Internationally expand. Try entering new markets, geographically and in terms of customer segments. You can easily expand internationally by creating English content and broadening shipping and targeting. The growth that this drives is insane. This has been a massive opportunity for a lot of our clients. Building brand authority. Invest in things like PR and partnerships to solidify your brand as a leader in the industry. Build social proof through media mention, industry awards, and yes, you can buy those, and collabs. Now the juicy part. Create formal departments with dedicated leaders. First, marketing. A head of growth, full-time, or a CMO. If you already had a killer head of growth from the start, you can grow them into full-time. If they lack the experience, make sure to hire a really good CMO. Ideally the cousin of Mark Zuckerberg, but at least someone who knows the ins and outs of what they do. Then we hire some channel specific manager for stuff like paid social, SEO, email, you name it. People to oversee and manage the specific departments. And these people are then managed by the CMO. Now for operations. COO. This is a role that you should definitely consider hiring, but the importance depends entirely on your skill set. Oftentimes I see founders scaling to mid 7 figures and then they're like, oh, what the What do I do now? Their experience becomes the bottleneck. They're on a rocket to the moon, but then they realize that they've never actually left the ozone layer before. Because of this, we need to bring on an experienced COO who can safely take them to the moon and beyond. Then the supply chain manager, if you haven't already, which I hope you have. Then a customer service manager to manage all the other reps and improve on customer experience. Now the finance department. CFO can be fractional initially, but you need to know your numbers, like all your numbers. I've seen companies increase their bottom line by an impressive amount simply by hiring a CFO. Then a finance manager, which is someone underneath the CFO to manage all the smaller stuff around finances like budgeting, forecasting, and financial reporting. And then lastly, the product department. You should hire a head of product or a product manager. They will improve upon the product, launch new lines, but also work with the teams that do marketing, design, and website. They look at the numbers and customer feedback to make the store better and make sure that people actually like using it. What not to hire is don't hire legal counsel in-house. Also, I personally have something against hiring HR departments, but you know, do what feels right to you. I promise I don't abuse my employees. Again, if you're here at the 8-figure mark, congratulations. And if you're not, you're going to get there sooner or later because you are taking the time to watch videos like this. So congrats, 9 figures a year, 100 million and beyond. All right, if this is you, you are literally the top 0.1%. You made it, but you're not done yet. I know that you want to keep playing the game and grow the business. At this point, you need to think big, and acquiring talent is one of those things that will actually make or break the business. At this stage, your organization is highly complex with multiple layers of management and potentially multiple business units. First, product innovation. Introduce new products or improve upon the old ones that align with what people are buying or want to buy. Then set up acquisitions and strategic partnerships. Look at mergers, acquisitions, or partnerships with complementary businesses to add to your growth. Customer experience at scale. Make sure that your brand maintains a strong personalized customer experience despite its size. Super important, please do it. And then risk management. Implement risk management strategies like financial or operational, like diversifying suppliers and even cybersecurity to make sure not to put all your eggs in one basket as you grow. Now for the hires, I'll keep it simple. A chief legal officer to manage compliance, contracts, intellectual property, and regulations. Also good to start looking into trademarks and that type of stuff. A head of expansion, someone to help you expand globally if you are not already. Also look at going to other platforms, retail, or even launching your own stores. This person should manage all of that. And then a VP or a head of partnerships. This could be the head of expansion depending on the skill set, but someone to get strategic partnerships, wholesale deals, and improve sales channels. And then we want an in-house creative team. You should keep the brand voice, create and manage video production and campaign content at scale. Of course, outside creatives and UGC will still be very relevant, but a big part of your creative work should be done in-house at this point, from low production all the way to high production. And then HR. I mean, at this stage, you can't really avoid it anymore. Maybe just don't scale to 9 figures to avoid this. And then recruiters. Working with HR, they make sure that there is a steady flow of new talent coming in to sustain the growth and also to keep the team performing at their peak. Now, at this stage, it's very important to focus on the don'ts. You should definitely focus on not hiring too many generalists. Get more specialized in hiring as you scale. Try to keep the team as lean as you possibly can and still keep replacing your talent. Replace the B and C players with A players and replace the A- players with A+ players. If you really want to build your vision, it'll be a constant battle of swapping out your B players to your A players, making deals, and taking the systems and talents in your company from that 90% performance mark to that 99% performance mark. You probably already know that the difference between the two is insane. So at this level, what is next for you? IPO, acquisition by a larger company, private equity buyout, or a merger? My point is this: no matter what stage you are at right now, you need to think 10 steps ahead. Only then can we make the real decisions. In case you haven't noticed, we didn't cover too many positions here. There's no way that I could have covered everything. I just really tried to strip away all the fat and only give you the must-haves. We recruit for over 40 roles and not every brand needs one of them. Now in this video, I just outlined the major ones, the must-haves for basically every brand. If you want to explore every position that we hire for and what they do and what stage you should hire them, I will leave a document around that in the description. And if you just want to learn something new, that's all right too. Click here for a 3-minute long video on how to create amazing SOPs for your business. Either way, I will see you in the next one.